back on the show. We got Rick Cordeiro joining us. Rick, you were here. What? You were just here last week, right?
I thought it was yesterday. No,
or maybe. Yeah.
I loved it so much. I wanted to get back here as soon as possible.
Well, I mean, there were a lot of good comments on that video. That because now we were talking about what, aliens and stuff.
Aliens, artificial intelligence, the paranormal, conspiracies, and the Illuminati. My acting career. And, I started off with the acting, and then we kind of went into way outside the box.
Because you were saying basically if you want to really make it big, you got to kind of sell your soul, right?
Pretty much. There's certain people, you can call them whatever you want, Illuminati, the powers that be that pull the strings and run our society and our world that we live in. And you got to hook up with those people because they have the power to push you and make you the big name that all the actors would give their left nut for.
I don't know, but you hear so many different stories about stuff. I mean, you hear stories like, the Illuminati's going down, the ETs are coming in and helping.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
It's very confusing times.
Did you hear about the black goo?
No, what's that? The black goo?
Yeah, there's two kinds of black goo. Black goo.
Kind of like what you see in Ghostbusters, but with the green stuff in Ghostbusters, that kind of stuff?
Well, that's a little different, but you did see it on the X-Files. Remember? They had a couple episodes with some black goo.
What, you've had some experience with that?
Yeah, YouTube videos.
Yeah?
Pretty much. They... just because, there's two kinds of black goo. There's it's a sentient mineral oil.
Okay.
And there's one kind that comes from Earth, and that is empathetic black goo. Okay. Yeah. And then there's that's what the Falklands War was all about. Apparently, the South Island there had a deposit of the black goo, so. That's why it became such a big issue. That's why Argentina wanted to take the islands. That's why Britain reacted so strongly.
What is that, oil?
It's a sentient mineral of some sort.
Okay,
that
interesting.
They're trying to figure out how to use. Actually, with AI, they're trying to weaponize it potentially. You know how the military is, right? So, but there's also an alien black goo that came in from space. That's it actually drains the empathy from your body. So, if you wonder how people become sort of sociopathic, psychopathic,
like Dick Cheney.
Funny you should mention that because apparently there's a big deposit of the alien black goo in Paraguay. And that's where the Bush family set up their escape villa, and it just so happens that right next door is Angela Merkel's place.
Interesting. So, what is it about this black goo that these people are fascinated or have an infatuation with? What's going on there with that?
All I know is what I see on YouTube. But
I gotta look into this some more. This is all new stuff to me.
Oh yeah. Look up the black goo. Theory of everything, and this guy, his name's Harold Kautz-Vella. He's the big expert on the black goo.
Huh.
He's a German guy.
Wow. Yeah. And also last time we were talking about Anthony Bourdain and how he was a celebrity chef at it's called the Cannibal Club. It's in Los Angeles. It's called the Cannibal Club.
You sent me the link to their website.
Yeah, they even have a website. How can they be allowed to have a website like that to advertise that you're a cannibal club?
I know. Where do they get their meat?
Yeah, where are they getting the meat? You walk around town, you see missing person posters, and then you have this Cannibal Club, and they have a website advertising their business, and they're allowed to have the website up and tell people that they serve human meat. This is...
It's a little, it's actually very, shall I say, unsavory.
Yeah, I mean, but regulars there are supposed to be people like Katy Perry, and
really?
What's her
who
name?
else? I mean, this is just rumors. We don't know this. This is unsubstantiated. But
Katy Perry and what's the other actress that you said? That one surprises me. A big star. But anyways, Katy Perry, her favorite dish there is placenta lasagna. So that's pretty interesting.
Placenta lasagna. Well,
yeah, and then when you Google images of this stuff, they actually post images of this stuff online too. It's really, really weird.
I mean, maybe it's not so bad if they're just serving placenta. I mean, remember the story about Tom Cruise, right?
What happened with him? He's a cannibal as well?
Well, okay, this is kind of gross, this topic, maybe. But the other thing I did hear is that if it sounds kind of nuts, but apparently when he had a child, he ate the placenta.
Yes. Okay. Now, I did remember.
Now, I have to say too that the other thing I heard is that for a woman, if the woman, the mother eats the placenta, I know it sounds weird.
Yeah.
It actually it miraculously helps with postpartum depression.
Yeah.
So that there might be something to that.
Yeah.
But I don't know for sure.
There's supposed to be like a lot of nutrients and minerals.
No, but it might be. I mean, if you look at cats and stuff, when they have a litter,
they do this.
They do some stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't know. This is gross. Sorry, people.
Yeah, because we were talking about Anthony Bourdain, because when I was in the show last week, it was 2 days after he had passed away from committing suicide, supposedly. They tell us he hung himself, and that's the other thing, too. It's like I always found hanging, like I said before, if I'm going to kill myself, I want it to be quick and painless, because I wouldn't know where to begin to hang myself. Yeah. Like you say, how do you tie the knot or something like that? But
and
what
that other
a weird
girl too.
Planet we live on.
That other girl that we mentioned,
yeah.
David Spade's sister-in-law or whatever.
That was involved with the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah. So did Anthony Bourdain? Did you say he was a chef at that restaurant?
Yeah, once in a while they'll get a celebrity chef in there, like he was one of them, and he's actually one of the client as well too. He's eating at that restaurant, and like he had an episode where he ate human brain and.
Human brain?
Yeah, it was an episode they had on the show, and he's come out and admitted that he's okay with cannibalism. So, yeah, weird stuff.
Well, where do we go from here?
Well, I don't know.
So we had Stu Bundy, president of MUFON Canada.
So they have a show or an exhibition or something?
Well, we kind of had a special Little Liquid Lunch yesterday. We had a lot of kind of I don't know what you call that, alternative. We had Stu Bundy, and the Alien Cosmic Expo was this weekend. Okay. We had a Divine Light practitioner. We had a quantum healer.
Nice.
And we had a witch.
Oh, cool.
On the show yesterday.
Yeah, really cool. So, yeah. So last time, too, we were talking about how the whole world is surrounded by something that keeps us from escaping. And you said it was the firmament?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the whole flat Earth thing,
It's the Van Allen radiation belt.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like from the solar wind, we collect the rays, and then it surrounds the world. And
well, it's interesting. I'll tell you, like when I was a kid, that was right at the height of the space program, right? So, I was a curious kid. I was really interested in the space program, so I was like studying up on all that kind of stuff. And I remember hearing about the Van Allen radiation belts, reading up about them, and thinking that this was a major problem they had to overcome if they're going to get to the moon. And in fact, some of the material that I read suggested that one of the things they were going to have to do was locate the launch facilities in more Arctic regions. And that would have been part of the solution to overcoming the Van Allen. And then so when they just said, oh, no, we're going to launch from Cape Kennedy, or Cape Canaveral, as it's called, I thought, that's what happened to the Van Allen belts, right? And then nobody talked about it after that.
Right.
Like, this was just in some scientific material I was reading before.
Yeah.
I just had one of those sneeze things there.
Am I going deaf, or is that a quiet sneeze?
That was a quiet sneeze.
I was expecting, like, achoo!
I don't want to do that.
And get blown away.
But anyway, so... And now they're even talking about... when I've seen them interview some of the astronauts that went to the moon, and they're going, oh, well, we didn't have to... They don't even know about the Van Allen belts. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And then there's been statements from NASA officials saying, well, if we're going to explore space, we have to deal with this Van Allen belts before we can get out of Earth orbit, right? So, like, it makes you wonder, did they go to the moon or not?
Right. Yeah. So, I don't know, like, that's another thing. Some people think it's all Hollywood and stuff, or that, like, how come we haven't gone back since? Like, that happened all in the 60s, and all of a sudden, we just stopped going to the moon?
Well,
And then people say, well, there's, like, secret programs going on that they don't tell us about, and they have bases already on the moon. Right?
Yeah, that's the other thing. That's the other... they've been on Mars. There's that story that they had the Mars Jump Room program where they used not a spaceship, but some sort of teleport technology. Mm-hmm. And apparently Obama was on Mars in the 70s. Yeah. Some people reported.
Yeah. It's, I mean, like, there's, you keep hearing stuff about how there's, like, in the private sector, the wealthy elite are setting up their own space programs and, and sending people up to outer space. And then you hear about, like, they've been told by some of the officials running the world that as soon as you guys leave, you can't come back, though. That's the deal. They won't let them back in once they leave, so I don't know what that's all about.
Oh, really? Well, it's what about that car that supposedly Tesla put in space?
A car?
Didn't you hear about that?
Oh, yeah,
There's a car in space. But...
Not a regular car?
It's just a regular, according to, what's his name? That guy, Elon Musk.
Okay.
He says they just took a regular Tesla car, roadster, whatever, and they put it up in space.
To see if the aliens would try and capture it and...
Well, it was more of a publicity stunt.
Turn it to a flying machine or something.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a bit of a publicity stunt, but Chris, are you there? Amazing. I don't know if you can maybe pull up any of that footage. I know that's
amazing how the car that they sent out outer space is actually named Tesla, as in like Nikola Tesla. So I wonder if there's any sort of
it's the Tesla
symbolism to...
Well, that's what the Tesla's like that electric car that Elon Musk started that company.
Yeah, right.
Right, so, and plus they're involved in the SpaceX something or other, so they put two and two together, sent a car into space, publicity stunt, but some people are saying, even Elon Musk said that it looks so fake that it must be real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's all good stuff. I like all this stuff. Like, I was just talking to a couple of my actor friends before coming on the show to see if they'd like to be a future guest, and they go, what kind of stuff you talk about? So I told them, it's right up my alley. So I just find like a lot of people in the acting and the film industry, they like talking about a lot of very open-minded people, like talking about all this stuff. And so, because I have a lot of first-hand experience with this stuff, with the paranormal, like as I said in the last show with the orbs and the sightings and abduction experiences, but also as well, because I do night shift security, I have also experience with sightings of ghosts and apparitions. And
okay, dude. Okay, let's get back to that. But here's a picture, this is video footage. Maybe it's even live.
Is that like an astronaut on the driver's seat?
It's there's actually nobody there. It's just a dummy, right? But this is the car. It's supposedly in space. Does that look like it's real? That's what he's. That's the side view. So, see, obviously there's curved. You can see it right there.
Yeah. So far, it hasn't been scratched or dented by rocks or meteors or anything like that. So that's a good sign. And the tires aren't flat, so that's good.
Well, the tires, yeah. I mean, I would think if there was actually air in those tires, that they would be blown out. But
so maybe it's just solid plastic or whatever.
Yeah, it's a nice looking planet they got there.
So where are these images coming from? Are these like live images? There's a camera on board the car?
Yeah, there's 3 cameras, I guess, on the vehicle, and
notice how it says "Don't panic" on the dashboard.
Yeah, that's from that book. You know the book, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, okay.
That was the name of the book, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Who said "Don't panic" on it. So so there you go, car in space. pretty.
There's the Earth coming out.
Yeah, see, it's obviously round.
Funny how now we just see the Earth and black. We don't see any stars or anything.
Well, you can't because, of course, the astronauts didn't see stars when they were on the moon.
Yeah, but then now you see these images that people all of a sudden, I don't know where they're getting them from, where all of a sudden in the background, when you had the astronauts in outer space, you see all these things flying around in the background. It's like, well, how come we didn't see these things on live TV when they were actually going up in outer space and they were broadcasting it to us in our living rooms? But now, all these years later, they're revealing to us what was really happening in the background behind these astronauts that they say supposedly they kept hidden from us. So, because I don't think outer space is pitch black like we're seeing it now. There must be more than just pitch black. Okay, there's the Earth again. But
I don't know, man. Do you think the Earth is flat?
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't traveled around the world completely to know for sure. But,
yeah, I don't know.
So I had a funny audition yesterday for a product for lip cream to wipe out cold sores and bacteria. So they had me dress up in a costume. And so when you zoom in on a person's lips, there I am. I'm supposed to be the bacteria spreading the germs around.
Oh, yeah?
So a lot of actors didn't want to try out for it because they figured it'd be very degrading for them and stuff, but it's a comedic spot, and plus the money's good, right? So, I'm doing more comedy now. It's funny, and I get to be on TV, and it's a good paid gig. So if they want to use me, they seem like they were happy with my audition yesterday. So we'll see what happens with that.
So that's, when do you get the call back?
I will find out tomorrow, Friday. They said they'll make our decisions Friday, and if you're selected, we will contact you. Then we'll shoot this for some time towards the end of July next month. So
we could be seeing you on TV again. Do you have anything on right now that people might know?
Not at the moment. Although once in a while, like there's been some stuff I've appeared on. A lot of these docudramas they shoot in Toronto, like where they reenact crime scenes and they need actors to do their reenactments and stuff, like Outlaw Bikers, Underworld Histories, and once in a while they'll keep showing them over and over again on specialty channels like Discovery, National Geographic International, and so you might be flipping the channels. I might be because I'll get that sometimes. Some people will message me on Facebook, "Hey man, you were on TV last night." Even some of my films, surprisingly, I did one where I was an RCMP officer, and the filmmaker the film is called Tug of War, and the film explores Islamic radicals in Canada. So I thought, okay, it's going to be shown across auditoriums across Canada because that's what I was told. And then one day, all my friends started messaging me on Facebook, saying, "Hey, you were on TV last night on the CBC." I go, "Really? On what?" It goes, "A movie called The Tug of War." I go, "Oh, wow, I got national exposure for this film. This is great." And it was even talked about on CNN because the subject matter was the hot topic of the day, Islamic radicals in North America, right? So we shot here in Toronto. It's done very well. And
it was a feature film?
Yeah.
Not a documentary?
No, it was a film, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did you see it? Have you seen it?
Yeah, I got to play an RCMP officer.
Well, that's cool. But, what's the movie like?
It's really good.
I haven't even heard of it.
Tug of War, yeah. Well, it was on the CBC, and it got written up in a lot of major newspapers across North America, and it got coverage on CNN as well. And, and then they had a private screening for the film before it was released for a cast and crew and some close members at a mosque here in Toronto. So I went. It was my first time inside, and then it's very well received. And the people were happy to see me and a couple of the actors from the film that were there presently, because they said it's not every day that we see a movie, and the next thing you know, we get to talk to the actors.
So wait, you went to the mosque?
It's like it was beside the mosque. They have like something like a community center of some sort, and they did the screening of the film there.
Oh, I see. Where?
It's in the northern part of Toronto.
Is it north? Is it off of 400?
Like right around that area.
Is it really a huge church? Mosque?
Yeah.
There's one up there that is like the biggest mosque in North America.
Yeah, okay, really, okay.
And I actually went in there one time. I had a tour.
Yeah, I was very well received, and people were happy to meet me because they saw the film, and then like they said, it's not every day I get to see a movie and I get to see the actor right after seeing the movie, so they thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, that's it, Tug of War right there.
There you go.
Yeah. So, there's been a number of films I've worked on. A lot of them do film festivals around the world. Actually, one film I did called The Flying Man, about a vigilante superhero. It went viral on YouTube and Vimeo. It had something like 14 million views. And then it got talked about on all the blogs and discussion forums online to talk about independent film. And the next thing you know, it got picked up by Sony Pictures. It was reported by the Hollywood Reporter, and they had the rights to turn it to a feature film in Hollywood. Although, so far I'm waiting. They haven't done anything with it, but even that one's already posted up on IMDb. It's still in the pre-production phase, but something must be holding it up, because we should have been starting on it right now. Because when I last talked to the producer of it, I says, so what's happening with The Flying Man? Are we going to turn it to finally going to turn it into a feature film? He goes, I can't say much now, but we'll talk soon. Talk soon. So that was that's The Flying Man right there.
So what is that? It was a short, was it?
It was a 10-minute short, and that went viral online, about a vigilante superhero. And it's just two actors, myself and my partner, played the villains. And then the superhero was actually CGI and animation, because the producer of the film, Marcus Alcaraz, his background is primarily as an animator and visual effects artist for all the big films like 300, Snakes in the Plane, Superman, and he was working out of a big studio in New Zealand, but he's decided now he wants to produce his own stuff. So with his visual effects and animation skills and collaborating with animators from around the world, he produced this Flying Man short that did very well online, and is now the Sony Pictures owns the rights to turn it to a feature film. But so far they haven't done anything with it. But
interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if you'll get a reprise in the feature remake.
That's what I'm waiting for, because I talked to the producer, Marcus, about it. He goes, I can't say much, but we'll talk soon. And then he hasn't said anything since then. So he's originally from Brazil, but now lives in Toronto. We shot the short film here in Toronto in the winter, and so that was a really, really good quality project to work on.
Did you shoot on the green screen?
Part of it in the parking lot, we did. They surrounded the car that we were in with partially by a green screen.
Yeah.
And then we actually shot some scenes where the car was actually moving on the highway, so that we had a camera guy on another car, just maybe a few feet ahead of us, keeping pace with us on the highway, to get my reaction of looking out the window and seeing the Flying Man chasing our car, right?
Oh, yeah? Maybe we'll get some footage here. Chris is working away at...
I actually uploaded the film, because it's only like 10 minutes, on my IMDb account. But so that was a fun project to work on. And
there you are, in the car.
Yeah, when we get to work on something, if we get lucky enough to work on something this good, what happens is that because it gets so much exposure, it helps us then get work on other projects of that caliber or even better. So you hope to use as like a springboard to something bigger and better after that.
Mm-hmm. So, were you in the Love Guru by any chance?
Yeah, I wasn't a Love Guru, but I didn't get any speaking roles on that. I was actually, the scene I was in, they were pretending we were in Los Angeles, because it was the Los Angeles Kings against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Right.
And I was one of the few Leaf fans in Los Angeles cheering on the Leafs.
In the rink.
The rink behind the bench.
And where did you shoot that?
We shot that at an arena. It wasn't the Air Canada Centre. I'm trying to remember.
Ricoh Coliseum? By any chance? Or the... Because there's still a rink at Maple Leaf Gardens.
That one was Cinderella Man I worked on. They shot the boxing movie at Maple Leaf Gardens. Okay. Right after they closed it down and the Leafs switched over to Air Canada Centre. But actually, the Love Guru was Air Canada Centre, as I recall, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So you were in that, eh?
Yeah, and then I got to meet Vern Troyer. that guy is so tiny. He's even smaller than I thought he was.
Wait, really?
And he had like 2 big professional balances on to protect him, because people always want to go up to him and get his autograph and for photo ops. But the guy's so tiny, people would crush the guy, right?
Well, I think Dean met him too.
Yeah.
Somehow.
So it was pretty funny, because when he's off screen, he has this little car that he rides around in so he can get around faster. It's like a motorized tricycle, but there's like a little stepladder he uses to climb up to get up to the seat. So it's pretty funny watching him do that.
So was he in Love Guru?
Yeah, he was on Love Guru. Yeah. And Mike Myers, I guess we caught him on a bad day because it seemed like he was in a snarly mood that day.
Oh,
and
yeah?
stuff. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and remember, it was like a circus. They had elephants there and everything, and on the ice. And
he was in a bad mood, eh?
he was in a bad mood, like, yeah. And then I read up afterwards. There's a write-up about it where it just seemed like it was very disorganized, that production, and he was very frustrated with it.
Well, it was like, it didn't do that well, did it? Love Guru.
Yeah, Love Guru. It's one of me, uncredited, because I didn't get a speaking line, but I was like a featured extra. So it was like one of my earlier credits. And, yeah. But I want to get, I'm trying to get some of my actor friends on board on the show, because they're right into this paranormal stuff, and I have the one guy especially. He's like a paranormal investigator, has his own little production company. So I was talking a little bit about that stuff before today, because of my line of work as an overnight security guard. I've done some sites that are extremely haunted, like I've done where the C&E is, because they even have like ghost tours down there by the C&E. That's how haunted and how strong the paranormal activity is down there. But there's one site in particular where that was under construction on corner of Young and Davisville, where the cemetery is. Mm-hmm. And they decided they want to build a condominium right where the cemetery is. So before they dug to start construction, they had to remove some of the caskets and tombstones and move it to another part of the cemetery to make way for the condominium. Bad move. Since day one, every single construction worker or tradesperson on that site has experienced some sort of paranormal activity. And myself, too, especially doing the night shift. A lot of times I was doing a guy there at nighttime. And so what happens is I was in charge during the day shift sometimes of running the elevators for the construction workers and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So there'll be one time, for example, where I'm by myself because no one's using the elevator because it's lunchtime and there's some downtime. So I'll be joking around thinking to myself, okay, I'm in a spot right now where people used to be buried. So I would joke around and say, I'm going to go down 3 levels where the underground parking lot is and pay a visit to my friends down there, really out loud. So as I'm going down there, the lights in the elevator go off, and I'm stuck in the elevator for 2 hours. I'm going, oh, shit, I shouldn't have said that, right? Just when I said that. As soon as I apologized, guys, I'm sorry, I'll never make fun of you guys again, the lights came on, the elevator started working again. Wow. And so I shared this story with some of the contractors there, and one guy says, it's funny you should say that. I wanted to show some people, but I didn't know how to show, but he says, I guess I can show you, but last week there was a big storm, so the bottom of the condo got flooded, so for insurance purposes we have to take pictures of it and for our bosses and stuff. So as I'm taking pictures of like the water in the lower level of the condo, I look back at the results of what I took, and there's like an apparition of, looks like the Grim Reaper the guy caught with a hood floating over the water. He caught it on his phone. I go, can you believe this stuff? He caught it on his phone.
Can you get that picture? We could show it next time you come in.
Oh, I don't know if I lost track of the guy, but it's when I was working there. The guy took pictures of it. And then some other guys are saying, like, they would do the plaster in the ceilings of the condominium, and they'd be, like, way up on top. And then towards the end of the shift, like it was wintertime, so it gets darker early. It's around 5:30, 6 o'clock. When they're packing up to go home, we figure there's nobody here. I'll just take out my clothes and switch to my good stuff here. And then as he's changing his clothes, he's looking out towards the window where the balcony is, and he's like maybe on the 30th floor of this condo, and there's like, looks like someone's peeking over the railing on the 30th floor to watching this guy take his clothes off and going down like this, and there's supposed to be nobody else up there out on the outside part of the balcony, and it scared the you-know-what out of the guy, right? And so I'd be doing night shifts over there, and early on in that construction site, when the elevators weren't working yet, I had to do the patrols by stairs, so that was a good workout. And so as I'm going up the stairs sometimes during the night shift, and I'm supposed to be the only guy in the building, I'm going up to one floor where the door's closed, but there's a window, and it looks like there's somebody looking at me as I'm going up, and I'm going. So I ran back down the stairs as fast as I could because there's supposed to be nobody in the building, right? But then I go back downstairs at my desk, and right behind me there's like a rack with all these pipes, and like around 3 o'clock every night at 3 o'clock in the morning, those pipes would be rattling on the racks all by themselves. Right. And I'm thinking, it's a bad idea building a condo on top of where the cemetery used to be, on the corner of the cemetery, right? So I started doing some research on this stuff, and in China, because there's over 1 billion people over there, they're running out of space to build condos and buildings. So what they're doing is they're going to where the cemeteries are, but instead of removing the caskets and the tombstones from that spot, as the floors are being built on these high rises, they're moving the caskets and the tombstones up with the workers. So by the time they're done, the tombstones and the caskets are going to be on the rooftop. So if you have a penthouse, for example, there's going to be people buried on top of you where the ceiling is. So they have pictures of this where these condos are under construction, and you see the workers with the hard hats and the power tools. And off to the side, on the top floor that they're still working on, you see like the coffins and the tombstones right there. So that when it's finally done, they can, wherever the tombstones and the caskets were at ground level, will be on that same spot, but on top of the condominium, because they're just running out of space in China because there's so many people over there. So that's their solution over there. They're not getting rid of the tombstones and the caskets. They're just putting it on top of the building. So that's pretty weird.
Well, maybe they won't haunt then. Maybe they'll be happy up top.
I don't know, but apparently, I would never want to buy a condominium by the cemetery, but according to the real estate developers, they're saying they're actually in demand because, number one, it's quiet there. You're going to get an unobstructed view because it's flat afterwards with the cemetery. And because it's quiet there, they like that it's quiet beside the cemetery, right?
Well, I hope they're not haunted. That could be a problem. I just heard a story.
That's the thing. From my experience, that building is haunted.
Well,
so.
Okay, well, all right. Don't tell the realtors. Or maybe
scare the customers. But
well, you can get exorcised. You can exercise a house. Exorcise. I knew somebody that bought a haunted house.
You do 20-minute workout and that ghost will go
I know people we've had on the show. They are exorcists. They will come into your house if you got
my grandfather did that in Portugal.
There you go.
Performed exorcisms.
See?
Yeah, my grandmother has all sorts of stories about my grandfather. He used to, if there was somebody possessed, he had to get 6 of the strongest guys in the village to hold the possessed person down, because that's how powerful these people would become while he did this, the exercise, the ceremony, the exorcism. But,
okay, Rick, listen. We're going to have to wrap this up. We got more guests coming on that I hope you're going to stick around and co-host. Yeah. If we want to, I guess if people want to get in touch with you, they can go to your website, rickcordero.com.
And most of my online experience is on Twitter, and you can find me there using the hashtag Al Capone of Toronto. Okay. And that's the quickest way to find me. I've got close to 600,000 followers right now. Awesome. Number 18 in Toronto for most Twitter followers. And,
did you send out our last interview to your Twitter list?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, now you can send this one out.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks for doing this.
My pleasure.
And we're going to stick around. Rick's going to stick around. Norman Evans coming up. And Gary Hibbert after that. So it's all good here on a Thursday. We'll be right back.